Hello, hello. So this is the high conflict co-parenting Q&A that I do every single week. Can you just let me know if you can hear me okay? Just put a thumbs up or write yes or something in the comment box. And I'll wait for a few more of you to get on. Hi. You can hear me okay? Yep, excellent. Okay. So I've got a few questions to get through today that people have submitted from my story post, which you can always submit your question on my story post that I put up once a week. If you have a question and it can fit in the comment box and it isn't too long, please put it in the comment box now. Excellent, you can hear me, great. And I will try and get to it in between answering the submitted questions, okay? So I hope you're all well. It's the morning here in Melbourne and it's a little bit chilly, but I've got a heater on in here, so I hope you're all staying warm. I think most of you are in the northern hemisphere, so it's quite warm where you are. But I had a few questions here, and a lot of them are about protecting your children, which obviously is part of high conflict co-parenting. When you have to co-parent with someone high conflict, protecting your children is definitely a priority. So I'm going to get stuck into the first question. So how do I answer questions from my child, as in why is my ex or why is their dad so angry? Why doesn't he like you? So obviously it depends on the age of your child. You need to use age appropriate language. It isn't fair, obviously, that your high conflict ex is making it known that they have a dislike for you, but children know whether they have explicitly said it to your child or it's just a sense that your child has. I mean, it's the truth. They do dislike you and they will do everything to kind of make that apparent. Noisy birds. But it depends on the age of your child, but it would be a way to deal with that would be to not defend your high conflict ex, but also not throw them under the bus, if that makes sense. Obviously, if your child is 3 or 4, you can easily kind of sweep that question under the carpet. If they're 13, 14, it's not so easy, or if they're 8 or 9 even. And the person also asked how to deal with hearing things about the other side's parenting from your child. Obviously, you are always going to hear things. They may be triggering things to hear. As things unfold, it's very hard for me to answer that in like one comment. But protecting your children is particularly what we go through in the co-parenting club, which the link to that is in my bio. That is where you get my specific like tailor-made support for your specific situation and also action steps. So as things unfold for you, because okay, it's this question now, there's going to be another question next week as things unfold for you and as your, I guess, your high conflict ex ramps up. The same person wants to know how to explain to the child without throwing the child under the bus as well, which I guess means explaining to the child, and then the child might go to your high conflict ex, and the high conflict ex is then going to punish the child for whatever they know or whatever they ask. An example of what this woman is talking about is the dad not putting the car seat in the car, which is obviously a safety issue, and time out in the child's room all day. So in my opinion, that's neglect. Obviously, I don't know the full details, but if you want specific like coaching on that and how to deal with that, how to deal with firstly the child, how to deal with communicating with your high conflict ex that you know what they're doing and to document it, then please come and join the co-parenting club. The link to that is in my bio and it is heavily discounted at the moment because it's just starting. So get in and get the support that you need on that, because that's like a multi-layered question. It's dealing with the child, it's dealing with the ex, and it's depending on the age of your son. I'm not sure how old he is, but yeah, you need to use age-appropriate language. Okay, someone has asked, will my kids become narcissistic too? The court ruled 50-50 custody. Obviously, that is one of our number one worries, that the child is going to take on the traits of their high conflict parent. Anything is possible, and what I always tell my clients and the women that I work with is, if the other parent is in their life, obviously they are going to influence their behavior to some extent. That's why you must become the positive and influential force in your child's life. Like, it's down to you to learn what you need to learn, apply healthy coping mechanisms for your child to deal with a parent of that nature, and obviously look out for the traits. You know the traits yourself, and it is natural and normal that a child is going to take on traits of their other parent as well as you. But if you wanted to nip that in the bud, and again, it depends on the age of the child, I have a lot of strategies in place, and I actually have some resources. I did some video training on this a few months back, or could have been a year ago. So please DM me if you want the video on that, on the narc traits within your children. So someone else has asked, if you fight for what you want, how do you prevent them making life hell afterward? Okay, you cannot stop this person saying and doing what they want. They will always say and do what they want to do. The goal is for you to protect yourself and your children at all costs. So where you cut them off in one area, you can guarantee that they will try another avenue, and then you just cut them off there, and then they're going to try another, and then you cut them off there. So it's limiting their options to abuse you further. It's limiting their avenues and their opportunities to get to you and your child. Obviously, that is a process, and you don't just do that all at once. You work on the one issue, and then you block them there, and then the next one comes up and you block them there, and it's ongoing. And it is something that takes practice, but I can teach you that within the Co-Parenting Club, because guaranteed it's happened now, it's going to happen time and time again. And even when your child is 18, I don't know how old your child is, but it's going to be an ongoing thing. But the goal is to limit their opportunities, because they will try certain things. And I think that does actually put a lot of women off from trying anything or doing anything, because you think, oh, he's just going to go through my children, or he's going to go and ramp up the abuse, or she, you know. So the goal is you cut off each and every avenue one by one. Okay. Somebody asked, how do you deal with high conflict parent in court due to his lies? I'm stressing. I want to be heard. Yes, absolutely. It is really hard when you are face to face with them in court. They have especially if they're covert, they have their best face on. They're putting on a show. They are very good at, or usually very good at communicating, very good at, and very versed in their lies and committed to their lies and their version of the truth. That's why it's so important to ground yourself and get to a place where you have everything, all your, crossed your T's, dotted your I's, all your documentation. You are grounded. You have your, your emotions in check, because it is really easy to get derailed, especially when you are there and you hear the lies and you're supposed to stand there and accept it. Okay. Obviously, there's plenty more. Not much I can say in a few sentences. But how do you deal with it is you just have the facts at hand, remain grounded, and focus on the truth. Hopefully you have a good legal team, or if you're self-representing. If you're self-representing especially, it is really important to remain grounded and to look after yourself. Have everything documented to the letter. Even if you think you don't need it, just get it all. Okay, hope that kind of helped. Someone's question, how do I join Co-Parenting Club? So after this live, you can either go to the link in my bio, and the Co-Parenting Club is there in the list, the link in my bio, all the information is there, all the details, or you can DM me, co-parent, and I can give you all the details there, or if you have any questions. But it's basically where you get tailor-made support from me for your specific situation. So here I can give you 1 or 2 sentences as an answer. It's not really comprehensive. I can give you comprehensive support, and also follow-up support and action steps. So there we meet fortnightly, which is twice a month, and I've got it heavily discounted at the moment, so get in if you want to join that, and I can help you with your specific situation as it's unfolded, whether it's to do with high conflict co-parenting, dealing with your high conflict ex, protecting your children and how to navigate certain situations, because there are a lot. Situations such as how to deal with them on a parenting app, how to get to a place where you are responding instead of reacting, how to block their or limit their opportunities to abuse you, and also how to navigate these conversations, these tough conversations with maybe your children, or how to, quote unquote, negotiate with your high conflict ex if you ever have to be in that position. So go to the link in my bio to join the Co-Parenting Club, or DM me Co-Parent and I'll get the details to you. Someone's question here is, my kid's dad is a drunk and is getting bad, waiting for legal aid. What can I do until then? So in terms of legal aid, sit tight. In terms of supporting yourself and your son, come and join the Co-Parenting Club, because there is support there with women who are going through very similar situations, and there's the power of community and realizing that you're not alone, and realizing that there are solutions out there, but you have to kind of go and seek them out. They're not just going to drop into your lap. Okay? But there is support out there from people who actually have been through what you're going through, people who are in the trenches with you, and solutions and tools to cope with these kinds of situations. Okay? Somebody asked what to do when your ex uses your child as a pawn to get information, to clarify calls, to find out information, and then uses it against you. Of course, that is abusive within itself. The child should not be between you as the go-between. Again, it depends on the age of the child and how much they understand, but if they are of an age where they can understand that they should not be the go-between, I personally would communicate with your high conflict ex and state that we should not be discussing adult topics with the children. I don't know if you have court orders in place. If you don't, then I highly suggest that you get some in place that stipulate that. Doesn't necessarily stop the high conflict co-parent, but at least it's kind of there in black and white, and you can keep referring back to it and document every time that they kind of breach that. Okay, someone has said, my 11-year-old is autistic and is now transparent that my ex is now also emotionally abusing him. He's really struggling. I also said I wouldn't stop Dad from seeing his children, but I'm not sure how to navigate this, since with his special need it makes it so complex. His dad is accusing me of lying and using manipulation against our son. Okay, this is common. They will try and get to you and denigrate you, try and break your bond between you and your child. That is what they do. Some people experience this early on, some people experience this later. I can give you some tools, I can give you some strategies within the Co-Parenting Club to deal with this, because you need those tools and strategies to navigate it with your high conflict ex, which may likely go nowhere. I'm not sure if you have orders in place, but then you also need some tools for your son as well to manage having this high conflict parent emotionally abusing them, which does happen. They do get coerced, they do get brainwashed in a way, and they're children, they love both their parents, they do know and sense that something is off, but you are the positive influence and need to become that louder voice, the more influential parent, regardless of what is said and done over there. So DM me if you want some details on that, or go to the link in my bio. And the dad is accusing you of lying, and yeah, that is what they do. Your child is 11, okay, he is autistic, but there is child appropriate language that you can use to navigate these tough conversations. It's tempting as a mum to say things like, and this is what one of my clients had said to her child, and I just kind of helped to rephrase this. You need to respect your dad because he is an adult. Okay, in general terms, yes, that is true to an extent when the adult is respectful of you and your boundaries. I fear that saying something like that to a child kind of breeds people pleasing, and it kind of communicates that an adult can say and do what they want to you because they're an adult and you must respect them regardless. So I helped her rephrase that so that it was not so much respect your dad, but to kind of take that out and communicate what the daughter needed to do in order to manage what was happening over at the dad's house, in a way that wasn't putting the daughter in a position where she was just having to respect and put up with what was thrown her way. So I hope that kind of made sense. If you have any questions, please type them in now, because I'm going to be signing off in about 5 minutes. Yep. Nissanahal something. Sorry. You'd like to be part of the co-parenting group? Please go to the link in my bio. All the details are there to join the co-parenting club. It's heavily discounted at the moment. There's specialized training. There is tailor-made support, and just a community of like-minded women, and obviously me as well, access to me. I know not everybody can afford and have access to my one-on-one support. This is why I have created the co-parenting club. I have managed to sort these little things out, and they're little, but there's a lot of them, so it is stressful and it is overwhelming, and I've managed to help my clients sort them out as well. And these are the things that you can sort out in that club in a safe space, off social media as well. I don't really hear the answer done in an indirect manner. Sorry, I am RRRAO. Can you expand on your comment? I'm not really sure what you're saying there. So someone has said, how do I best support my children? I'm struggling to stay afloat through all this. I'm exhausted. They want a relationship with him, and I'm in the process of legal stuff, but want to know how to navigate all of this. So best support your children and you're struggling to stay afloat. Yeah, it's overwhelming because you're trying to parent, you're trying to co-parent, and you are trying to look after yourself as best you can, okay? It's stressful, it's overwhelming. That's why a support network is so important, to have people around you who can hold that space, give you the right tools, give you the right strategies so that you can kind of get out of the trenches. Obviously you can't do it all overnight. It is going to take a bit of time, but once you start striking things off the list and you have things in your tool belt, you will be better equipped to deal with whatever gets thrown your way. Unfortunately, there is no guidebook, there is no handbook, and there are, a million different scenarios that are going to be that you're going to be presented with. But once you know baseline, okay, I've got my tools, I've got my strategies, I've got my coping mechanisms, I can protect myself, I can protect my children, then whatever gets thrown your way, you have something to go to either limit the negative impact or fix the issue before it gets bigger. Okay, but all in all, a high conflict ex is always going to be there. They're always going to try and cause trouble. The goal for you is to get to a place where you can cut off all avenues, okay, and limit the negative impact that they're having on you and your children. And that is what we work on within the Co-Parenting Club, as a group and for your specific situations, okay? Because there's no out-of-the-box kind of response to these questions. Somebody's asked, I've separated with my toxic ex. When he meets me, he is abusive in public, but now he is texting me to very politely to drop my daughter to school every day. How should I react? Yeah, it's things like that that I work with women within the co-parenting club. I'm thinking boundaries are what's needed, because you are not the fixer, you're not his secretary. So it's finding a way to push back on that, because that's his parenting time, that's his responsibility. You're not there to fix it. As long as he knows that he has access to you to fix it, he will keep going to you to fix it. Yeah, okay, yeah, send me a DM. Any questions about the Co-Parenting Club, please send me a DM with the word co-parent. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Yeah, and Nish, he's being very polite because he wants you to do something. I mean, it's manipulation. If he can get a reaction from you by being abusive, he'll do it. If he can get you to do what he wants by being nice, then he'll do it. And if you fall for it, it's like dog training. He's trained to continue. Let's cut off those options. Yeah, let's limit those options. Let him work it out for himself because he is a grown adult. And if he doesn't work it out, that's documented evidence against him. Okay? So if there are no other questions, Nish, he wasn't available last year for my kid. Now he wants to drop her. It's confusing when he's doing this to my daughter and it's getting better staying away from him. Yep, absolutely. But now I don't know how much she should meet him, get some court orders in place. I would suggest getting some legal advice around that. And if you don't have court orders in place, I would personally draw up a parenting plan myself and present it to him, and he can either accept that or not. And if he doesn't, then that's when you can go down a third-party route and maybe try mediation for that. But if you need some support with that, then the Co-Parenting Club and how to navigate that will really be helpful for your specific situation. Somebody's asked tips for managing anger towards a narcissistic ex. My kids are little empaths and I'm trying, but they can tell I hate him. He abused me for years and continues to bully me with legal docs. Yeah, so dealing with having someone like that in your life continually, yes. You need those coping mechanisms, those tools, those strategies in place, those go-tos, so that you can minimize that anger, because that anger is still giving energy, okay? That's still giving energy to him. And with your children, they may be feeding off that. So you need to create a narc-proof home where this is the protection. We are protected. This negative influence does not filter into our home. And that's providing your children with the tools and strategies to deal with that. Obviously, you need to learn them first so that you can teach them and set that example. Okay. All right, so if there are no other questions for high conflict co-parenting, I'm going to be saving this it saves in the IGTV video section of my profile. Again, the Co-Parenting Club, the doors are open. It's heavily discounted at the moment. DM me Co-Parent if you have any questions. Otherwise, all the details are in the link to my bio. And we meet fortnightly. I can go through and spend time with you one-on-one within the Co-Parenting Club for your specific situation to get some action steps in place and follow-up support as well for you. Okay, so with that being said, I will see you next week. I'll also be doing a story post between now and next week so that you can submit your questions, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.